Hi! I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about baby wearing safety. I'm Alexandra, the owner of Mama Roo's, and I've got my wrap preset for a front wrap cross carry today, which is a typical first carry that we recommend. And so I wanted to take a second to give you an overview of what to look for, what to be mindful of when baby wearing to do so safely. So the first thing that we want to keep in mind is baby's airway. So some people like ABCs, so A for airway. So what that means is we want to make sure that however baby is positioned, that this is open, okay? So if baby's head is squished, the airway is closed, right? If their nose and mouth are covered, the airway is closed, okay? So we want to always make sure that's good. B for breathing. Okay, are they breathing? Are they close enough so that we can monitor their breathing? So one of the big mistakes that I see is baby will be in the carrier and they'll be down here. And so there's a couple reasons why that's an issue. So for wearers who have breasts, obviously, baby is then in the breast tissue, right? So it's hard for them to move away to get a big breath. It's okay while they're actively nursing, but once they're asleep, we want to make sure we bring them back up so we can monitor that breathing better, okay? So adjusting them so they're actively nursing, that's totally fine. Switching them to the other side, actively nursing, totally fine. We consider that more like a carry assist, right? Because we're still looking, we're watching, we're monitoring. The baby needs to come back up after they're done, okay? Same thing if we've got baby adjusted and they're having a bottle. We don't want to so if let's say we move them down so we give them the bottle while they're in the carrier, we just want to make sure that when they're all done, we bring them back up. It doesn't matter though, even if you do not have breasts, because down here, especially with a very small baby, you cannot adequately monitor their breathing. They're just not close enough, okay? So we want them up, close enough to kiss. So that's our C then is comfort, okay? So we're monitoring the airway, that physical positioning, we're monitoring the breathing, and we monitor the breathing by keeping them up and close enough to kiss, close enough to listen to their breath, okay? And comfort. So what do we mean by comfort? So we want things to be comfortable for the wearer and for your little one. So how we make that comfortable for your little one is we make what's called a seat. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this wrap today. Depending on the type of carrier, you'll make a seat a little bit differently, but it's still a seat. So I like to, in a wrap or a ring sling, I like to try to sit baby on to this band of fabric. I find that, of course, you'll support baby's head, support them as needed. But I find that when we sit them on this band of fabric here, what we do is we naturally sort of get them into a knee-to-knee position. Okay, so knee to knee. Why does that matter? If we've got it too far and baby's leg is stretched out, that can be uncomfortable for baby. It puts a lot of pressure sort of on the leg, and sometimes you get some squirming and things like that. If it's too low, that can be uncomfortable for baby too, and that can also be uncomfortable for the wearer. Their legs are lower down, kicking you. And just generally, it can be more squirmy. It's kind of like the difference between sitting in a fully supported chair or dangling off of a stool in that feeling. So yeah, can you sit on a stool? Sure, but sometimes it can get uncomfortable, and so that's one of the things we like to see: a nice wide stance, fully supported knee to knee. Once your baby's a little bit older, like a toddler, full knee to knee is not a big deal. It's like starting like around maybe like 1 year old, they've got enough strength in their legs that so long as sort of the thigh is well supported and they feel comfortable, that's good. And by the time they can sort of articulate to you whether they're comfortable or not, right? You can sort of take their cues. So what I also like about this is I find it's easy to bring that top rail up. And then what are we going to do about making the seat? So I'm going to sort of pop you in. This isn't a real baby, of course. This is a demo. So if I sort of pop that in there, I'm grabbing the bottom rail that got tucked under here, Okay, so I'm grabbing it and I'm pulling it up to about the diaper line. Okay, you see that? That's the top rail, and there's about the diaper line. That tends to work really well for younger babies. And of course, I really pulled that wrap out. But what's nice about this is we can always tighten. So I'm just gonna bring baby back and pull on that top rail to tighten baby to me, okay? So I can reach down and kiss baby, no problem. I can take a look and their airway is open. If I'm concerned, I can always turn their little head. A nice thing in a carry like this, right? So if I just sort of finish that up real quick, just to give you an idea. We don't want to over tighten this bottom, okay? Because if we over tighten this, so this goes all the way, I don't know if you can imagine, this goes down to here. If we over tighten this, we will actually pull that fabric right out. So we want it tight, but we just don't want to over tighten the bottom, okay? So if I go like that, I'm going to hold that in place. Just do a quick tighten. Okay, why do we tighten? So the baby feels secure in there so that we can feel comfortable in the carry. Okay, so I'm gonna back up. See how I finish this? I'm gonna come under baby's legs. I'm gonna do a little Lexi twist because this baby is still kind of small. So just twist so that it comes down a little lower than the leg. And I'll finish it like that. Okay, so what I want to show you here is that let's say baby is sleeping. So some people get nervous. Can I let them sleep in a carrier? Yes. We just need to make sure, and they probably will sleep in the carrier, which is kind of what we want a lot of times, okay? So what do we do about that? So let's say baby's fallen asleep and you're a little concerned with the airway, right? They sort of fell asleep and they kind of burrowed in your chest and you're not sure about that. Gently turn your baby's head, and then to support them, take this and move that over. Their face is free. Their head is well supported. You can kiss them. You can monitor their breathing. They're in a nice, comfortable position. The legs can swing freely. Okay, in a newborn, those legs might only be like this. That's totally okay. They've got a nice C curve. This will be more dramatic around your newborn and less dramatic on a toddler. So what I mean by C curve is when we look to the side, if you sort of ever see people holding their babies and it's like, oh look, it's like the baby is on the outside. They look like they still, the baby bump is sort of just a baby, and that's out and a baby bump. That's that nice C curve. So when we're wrapping newborns, we often just kind of like take their natural froggy curled upness and just deposit it into the wrap, okay? It's not anything special. We just kind of want them to keep their natural sort of frogginess and adjust the wrap, move the seat around that natural tendency to do that. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that we wrap baby, or we have, especially in soft structured carriers, and I can do another video that shows that another time. But we'll have baby low, and then they're like, I have to back up to show you. They're low, and then they're like this. You're like, I don't understand. So this baby is a demo that sort of is naturally gonna do more of a C for me. But it's often, they're almost like just like flat squished against you. And so with this position, right, a couple of things. I can't kiss them, they're too far down, so it's hard to monitor breathing. Their face may be open and I'm able to breathe, but it's not a great position for monitoring that. And they're very like flat and squished against me. And so it's the difference between being low and flat and squished against me, and then just bringing them up higher. And hopefully you can sort of see that difference, right? And I'm just trying not to totally lose the baby with the tightness, but up higher, you see how that curve becomes easier, and then lower, it's sort of more squished. Okay, so up higher helps that pelvic tilt, and lower doesn't. So that's another reason why we do that, for comfort for both of you. It's not as comfortable to have baby hanging down here. It really, really isn't. So it's for both of you. And then of course that comfort for caregiver is important too. So if baby is in the wrap and everything looks safe for baby, but you still don't feel good, that's okay. And that's one of the wonderful things about a wrap is we can change it. So if, for example, you have a sore shoulder, and you don't like having something on there, we just make it a one shoulder carry. Okay, and we adjust and we tighten based on that. We spread across, and we can do a pop-in finish, okay, where we sort of wrap around and come back. We can do, we can just bring it around and tie it. I mean, like, there are so many options. You can do a torso carry where you don't have either shoulder. You can adjust how it's knotted, where it's knotted, so many options. And so that's one of the reasons that wraps are just so nice, so versatile, so useful for a variety of caregivers. Definitely worth getting a try, and definitely worth getting multiple sizes. So as you learn, you can try new things and see what feels best for you and works best for you and your baby. So I hope that that's helpful. So remember those ABCs. We're monitoring the airway, checking their breathing and getting them in a good position to monitor breathing, and making sure they're in a comfortable position for both baby and caregiver. Thank you so much.